Hello and welcome to War or Nothing, the number one podcast for amateur and professional boxing across the UK and beyond. We're back again today. I'm joined by my co-host Brandon Anthony States.
Hello.
And in this week's episode, we are covering many things, starting with David Allen versus Makhmudov, who will reign supreme in the heavyweight clash. We'll also be finishing on something very interesting, that being the last of the 20 rounders, as reported earlier this week by Boxing News, and we look at, are 12 rounds enough to distinguish a true champion? Listen on for more. Brandon, let's get into, as we said, David Allen versus Makhmudov.
Yep.
What's your initial thoughts on this matchup?
My initial thoughts is it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight for David Allen. I think it's an even better fight for Makhmudov, to be honest, because it's like, realistically, he's coming off two losses, one to Ajak Caballero in Riyadh season, and then one to, can't remember his name. But yeah, he's coming off. He's got two losses now on his record. Obviously, not as much as Dave Allen, but he was once big as like the next big heavyweight. You know, he was like promised as like the scariest guy in boxing. He wrestles with bears, stuff like that. And I think it's a good fight for him to be like, look, if he beats Dave Allen, who's a good name, beating the top contender recently, I think it puts him back in there in that top 15 situation, get him in there then with like people like David Adlai, maybe Filip Ergovic, people like that. But I think it's a good fight for both men. It's really to see where they're both at. Does Dave Allen still have it? Has he still got what it takes to get to that top 15 level? Because I'd say he's a top 25 heavyweight right now in the world, I'd say, but can he reach that top 15? And it's the same with Makhmudov, to be honest. Are they both there? And I think this is a good fight for both of them to go, look, we're going to put it all on the line, see whereabouts we're at.
So you mentioned there, of course, last year Makhmudov came up against Guido Vianello. I'm probably really mispronouncing that, but
butchered that.
Makhmudov, of course, is 20-2. One of those losses came against Vianello. The Italian took very, very good advantage of Makhmudov's hand placement. It was quite wide at times.
Yep.
If you've seen that bout. The bout was finished by doctor's orders at the end of the 7th round due to swelling of Makhmudov's left eye. For me, throughout that fight specifically, that loss, it seemed that Makhmudov had slowed quite a bit as the rounds went on.
Yeah.
Some of his tactics that he'd carried all the way through the bout weren't necessarily paying off, but he'd stuck to them. Things I think, in short, Dave Allen could really, really take advantage of and exploit in this matchup. One of those specifically being Makhmudov seems to drop low and come high for attacks.
Yep.
So almost like a drop down and a feint to the body to come to the head. Now I think, having watched Dave Allen, and of course Matchroom have done a day in the life, very interesting day in the life, where they follow him training at Jamie Moore's gym, and then they go for a bit of food. Conor Walker's there as well, stablemate. Conor Walker is there, looking a little bit chunky, I will say. I don't know if he's I don't know what's going on with his weight, but yeah, he actually said he needs to lose weight in the thing. I'm not just poking fun at Conor Walker here, but yeah, in that hilarious day in the life, the bit where David Allen's training, we see him stepping in on a double jab right hand, stepping in on every single one of those shots.
Yep.
Covering a lot of distance quickly. Quite a vicious sort of way of throwing those shots together. I think that is the combination, and in that way, stepping in on every single one of those shots, that wins David Allen this fight. I firmly believe that. And I think with Makhmudov dropping low to come high, I think if David Allen meets him at that low point, he will knock him out. I firmly believe he'll knock out Makhmudov.
Yeah, I think there's a solid chance for that. Like I said earlier, he lost to Ajit Kabayel, Makhmudov. And I remember in that fight, I remember watching it live actually. I thought Makhmudov was going to win that fight. Personally, I didn't know a lot of Ajit Kabayel at the time, but yeah, the body shots really worked for him, really slowed him down, and I think he did stop him if I can remember correctly. I think Kabayel did stop him, but I think that's probably the same game plan they've got for Dave to go in there, slowly work him down. Because remember, it's a 12-round fight. I don't know how many rounds Makhmudov has done consistently. I don't know what his longest amount of rounds are. But obviously, Dave Allen, he's done 12 before.
Well, not many, I think, because, I mean, again, I could be wrong here, but Makhmudov has 19 knockouts to his name.
Yeah, he was 18-0 before he first lost. Which is, crazy, really, isn't it?
And whether he's just been fed absolute bin men.
Oh, yeah, that's that top rank.
Yeah.
So, I'm never going to get signed by top rank now, but that's that top rank matchmaking, that is.
Yeah. 19 knockouts, so you presume he hasn't done many 12-rounders, and he hasn't gone the distance. He hasn't needed to, by merit of his own knockout power. But yeah, it will be
Dave Allen also has 19 knockouts as well.
Yeah.
So quite even on the knockout scale. But obviously, Dave Allen's got more experience coming in with 24 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws.
I think Dave Allen's style alone, what it has been in the past at least, is very much, like we say, plod forward, cover up, take a few heavy digs. He's happy to sort of wear his opponents down and weather the earlier round storm and see it out for the long haul. I think that's just David Allen's style.
But do you think that's more of a case of he knows he ain't got the gas tank to, if he comes out punching straight away, kind of like Fisher did, then he's just going to gas out straight away? Because let's be honest, he hasn't had the best track record, has he?
No, he hasn't. And, he's the first to hold his hands up and say, look,
yeah,
he's not an athlete of sorts. He
No.
he doesn't eat like one. His weakness, if I'm not mistaken, is crisps. He always talks about crisps and cans of pop and stuff
Ice cream
like that.
sandwiches, literally.
Ice cream
and bread is crazy. When I first told that, I thought ice cream sandwich, yeah, there's, little cookies, ice cream.
No.
But then when they were like, no, bread, and then ice cream in the middle, I'm thinking, that's a bit weird.
That is a fat man invention.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Oh, yeah.
That's something you only ever think of if you're at that stage of fat where you're like, yeah, how else can I?
I'm glad I never thought of
that. But yeah, Alan will be the first to admit he's never really followed it by the book, and consequently he's not been in the best of shape at times. And I think, yeah, to your point, there has been moments where he probably doesn't want to gas out, so he'll just plod and take a shot and take a dig here and there. He relies on his granite chin, a lot of the time. But having said that, with him being in, if you've seen the shape he's in now,
he is in pretty decent shape nowadays, isn't he?
almost looks like a career best, some would say.
I think it is.
Yeah. I mean, apart from his earlier amateur days, of course, when he had six-pack, he likes to share that old photo every now and again.
Yeah.
But
that's what they're hoping for, though, on the scales. On Friday, they're hoping for abs on their weighing day.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, he's shaved already, which he does tend to do around fight night anyway, and revealed a very chiseled jawline. So, yeah, it's safe to say Dave Allen is looking in good shape. But will that change the way he approaches the fight? Will he plod forward, or will he have more of a gas tank now, having done the working camp, cleaned his diet up, and is he going to be more willing to push on in the earlier rounds?
The thing is, we say this, right? We say this as if, his most notable wins aren't early round stoppages. It's like Johnny Fisher, the second one, stopped him in round 5. And to be honest, I think he could have stopped him in round 5 as well, in their first fight. Lucas Brown in round 3, body shot, lovely body shot. And I can't remember the geezer's name, but it was on an undercard for Matchroom. He fought him and he knocked him out with an overhand right.
Nick Webb.
That's it, Nick Webb. Early stoppage as well. Pretty much straight away, wasn't it? I think it was first round, wasn't it?
I don't recall the round, but I can see that shot. It's
been on saying it's there, but we're saying this as if he hasn't got really early, first round stoppages. But it's I just don't know if you could do that with Makhmudov.
No,
I don't think you can go in there, because he did show resilience, to be honest, in that fight with where he got cut and his eyes swelled up.
Italian, with the Italian.
Yeah, he did show a lot of resilience in that fight, a lot of heart to keep going, because he did want to continue, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't say he was hurt from that fight, but obviously you've now got to put into the perspective of, can Dave Allen hurt him? You know, does he have that power? And for me personally, I think he does. I think we both agree that he's going to stop him. But you also then have to go on the other side of, Makhmudov also has power. He has stopped 18 people. And so it's like, realistically, we've seen Dave Allen in the past, right? He's come up against the likes of Dillian White. He did do all the rounds there, lost unanimous decision. No, sorry, split decision, where he lost. He would go on to then get defeated by Luis Ortiz in his very next fight after that. So he lost to Dillian White, then went, you know what, fuck it, let's have Luis Ortiz next. Where then he would lose in round 7, he would get stopped. And then, it's hard to say, because most of his losses have come from him not training, and he did say that himself, especially in the podcast with Darren Barker. He said himself, realistically, I didn't care. For him, it was just the money that he wanted. And, you know, I think personally, it was to help him fuel his massive gambling addiction he had, because even he came out and said, he was like, I wasn't training. I was literally waking up, betting on the horses, going to training later that evening, then staying up late so I could go to bed in the morning just to wake up in time for the races.
It's an interesting story, isn't it? Because a lot of fighters, you know, they have a vice, and that is typically drinking or drugs. When they're not in camp or then they retire, they turn to, you know, drink or drugs. Dave Allen has famously never drank, but of course his vice was gambling. And I famously remember him saying that before one of the fights, he'd already gambled the purse. Yeah, he was making the ring walk knowing that he'd already spent the money.
Yeah, he already lost 8K on the races.
Yeah. And I dread to think that feeling must be awful.
Yeah, going into the ring having to fight a geezer, knowing that you've just lost $8,000 and being like, oh man, now I've got to go to work.
You know, one can understand the feeling of, I suppose, like apathy and, like, you know, just not being asked when you're in there or around training or dieting, when this thing, you know, and that thing being gambling has such a grip on it over your life. Everything else kind of, like, you know, pales in comparison to the thrill you get from gambling. But yeah, this fight, it does excite me. I didn't really know stacks and stacks about Makhmudov before this was made, and you know, I'm sure many people have an opinion of me for that, but never mind. But looking forward to this one. Don't know much about the undercard. I think it's Reece Bellotti versus Josh Padley on the undercard of that one, which again should be an exciting one. The whole Josh Padley story was
it's insane. Really
great to see unfold. I
think that's why I love boxing so much, because like you get all sorts of different walks of life coming in. To really, they all have the same goal, don't they? They all want to be a world champion. But like, you could be a doctor working in the day, then training in the night time, or the opposite way around. A mechanic, a builder, all of this stuff, and yet it fascinates me, man, because everyone's got a story, and I think that's what I like about doing this as well, is that obviously we can talk about those stories and ask people about their stories as well. But it really fascinates me sometimes.
Just before we move on from this, I just wanted to mention, obviously we talked about the Matchroom day in the life there, and what a lovable character that Dave Allen is. You know, he always gets the support of the British public. I think this time will be no different. And if you go and watch that Matchroom day in the life, there's a hilarious moment when they're out for food, like I say, and Dave Allen orders an astounding meal. One could only presume it was a cheap meal, which he assures us it is not. It is just a normal Dave Allen meal, which is jacket potato, cheese, beans, bacon, and 2 Richmond sausages.
Yeah, but he left the sausages,
which he leaves because he said he ordered them as a test of will.
Yeah, just to prove that he could.
Not to eat.
Yeah.
Funny guy. Hope he gets a win.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Moving on, we're going to touch on Sky News have been talking about AJ versus Fury again. It seems this one crops up at least three times a year.
Yeah.
What do we know about the latest on this one?
Well, latest is Anthony Joshua has now been back in training after his surgery. Can't remember what it was for. I think it was for an elbow. One of his elbows, obviously, he's only got two of them, so it's got to be one of them. But yeah, he's had surgery there. He's now back in training. Don't know what for. There's been speculations of Martin Bakoli in Africa, but I don't think that's the right fight for him personally. I think Billy Nelson also says it's not the right fight for him. There's a lot of fights that he could do. Parker 2, Dillian White 2. When he's not on drugs, but obviously the big one is Fury. Fury says he's retired, yet he's still training every day. On his runs, training with his boys, and I think his nephews, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it'd be his
John Boy Fury's.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Shane's lad. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously training with them every day. So obviously he's staying in shape. But I personally, I don't think it ever happens. I don't think it will.
Do you not?
No, I think if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen years ago when Joshua was unified heavyweight champ. Fury was just crowned WBC champ after beating Wilder in the second fight. And if I remember correctly, they actually did sign to fight, but it was a courtroom over in America that stated, no, you have to fight Wilder for a third time, or you're going to get taken to court.
Yeah.
And obviously Fury went, no. And so he took the Wilder fight, which I don't think anyone wanted to see.
No.
Obviously it was great, Trish, don't be wrong.
It was great, but
it's great now looking back at it. But at the time, I think everyone was like, realistically, Fury beat him in the first one and the second one. Shouldn't really have to fight him for the third time, but legally he had to. So I think if it was going to happen, it was going to happen then when it was for everything. Then we would have had a full undisputed British champion again, back to back then. But no, I just don't think it happens now.
So an American courtroom robbed us of potentially the greatest British boxing matchup for all time.
Yeah.
Thanks, America.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
No, I mean, again, I've said it countless times before. I would like to see it happen. I'm having you haven't just explained that. I think I'm veering on the side of it probably won't, unfortunately, and it will be the fight that never was. Still talked about. It's still talked about now.
It's talked about every conversation. Yeah, about heavyweight, realistically, isn't it? It's like any conversation. You could start off on Moses Atama. You'd end up talking about Fury AJ because you'd be like, oh yeah, Moses Atama. He could fight AJ, but then he's in the same camp. But he did do camps with Fury. I wonder what that's like. Having a relative sparring partner in Moses Atama. You're like, fuck. You don't know, do you?
On the back of this, how's Jake Paul? And it's hard not to mention this man in the same sentence these days, but has Jake Paul ruined his chances of an Anthony Joshua clash by taking the Gervonta Davis fight?
Nope. I'll tell you one reason.
Go on.
Eddie Hearn.
Money.
He does not like Jake Paul.
Okay.
Can't stand him. Did you, I don't know if you watched it, did you catch the Matchroom documentary thing about him and his father?
I have. Do you know what? That's the only thing I have not seen yet.
Watch it. I think it's episode 4. There's 5 episodes. Episode 4 talks about Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. I think it is the second one or third one. I'm not too sure. But they do not like each other. And yeah, I think it will probably happen just out of the fact of Eddie Hearn will go, yeah, just end him on, slide AJ a couple of millies under the table and go, yeah, plan a couple of hard ones on his chin, will you? Because that's really that's what I would do. And plus, it's I hate saying it, but people will watch it because no one likes Jake Paul. Everyone likes Anthony Joshua. Everyone wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out, but apparently no one can bloody do it. I'll do it if no one else can.
It is increasingly more and more bizarre that it has not happened yet. And I think Paul has carved out the perfect thing in that he has become the person that everybody wants to knock out and everybody wants to see get knocked out just to say, ha,
he's the villain.
Yeah.
He's the villain.
He is the villain.
He's playing it wonder. He's a brilliant businessman. Don't get me wrong. He's a brilliant businessman. He's made millions off us fools that just keep watching his bloody crap fights. But it's like, realistically, I think it will happen. Anything can happen now if bloody Gervonta Davis is stepping in the ring with him, who, by the way, is a what, 145er? 140, 145 pounds.
Someone in the region of, yeah.
Yeah, Jay Paul came in last fight, I think, which was the Tyson fight, which is crazy just saying and talking about it. I think he weighed in at 215.
He got heavy, right? He got big.
Yeah, he got really fat. Yeah. So he put on a lot of weight. So he last weighed in at what, 217, 215, I think. Don't fact check me on that. Will do. I don't care. And obviously, Gervonta Davis fought at 140, 145. So realistically, that's a what, £90 weight difference there, something like that. It's stupid, really.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't happen, but it is because dollar bills.
How much more can be said on that AJ versus Fury? You know, it has been done to death.
I'm going to sum it up in one sentence here.
Go on.
Turki Al-Sheikh, if he pays both of them hundreds of millions, we will see it happen. But it will be in that stupid area of maybe half a bill for both of them.
Yeah.
To fight. Because both men are on the slide. I'm going to say it. They're both on the slide. They're both coming off tough losses. Obviously, Usyk for Fury, Dubois for Joshua. And I think both men will not have as much motivation to fight each other, as they don't really care anymore, in my eyes. I don't think they do. And it is all about money. And I think we've seen that before when it has become about money for fighters. It's ended poorly. And I think that's why none of them are taking this fight.
Would if it was made that way, and the money was there, would it be at Wembley?
Yeah, because obviously we've seen now Eubank Ben at Wembley. Obviously we're going to see it. Well, no, sorry, that was Tottenham, wasn't it? No, was it?
It was Tottenham, yeah.
It was Tottenham, sorry, yeah, I'm getting bloody confused now. And then again at Tottenham again, I think we will see either at Tottenham, because obviously he's had, 2 Riyadh season events there now. He's had one in Los Angeles, obviously now one in Las Vegas with Netflix. And to be honest, thinking about now, it could happen. Netflix has their documentary series with Fury. So obviously there's that deal there. There's the deal with, Riyadh season, stuff like that. So it could happen, but I think it's going to be for a stupid amount of money.
Moving on, let's talk about this topic, which is the last of the 20 rounders or above in England. Boxing News did a very good report on this. They talked about their last 25 rounder to take place on British soil came on December the 20th, 1909, when a hard-fought contest between two young Londoners, Joey Smith of Moyland and Kid Sullivan of Marylebone, were 16 or thereabouts, and they had a 75-minute contest for the flyweight championship of England. Now, today, those of the same age, at most, will go 9 minutes between the ropes.
Yep.
So, a staggering difference. But the question remains, is 12 rounds enough to distinguish a true champion these days?
That's a very good question from yourself there, to be honest, Luke.
I say this because back in the day, it's my belief, it's not my belief, I have read that the belief is they fought for that long because they thought that's what determined a champion. I think it was something about the fact that you could go and go and go,
Yeah, you just
keep going.
keep going. What was, I don't know if you know it, but I can't remember it. But do you know what the longest fight has been?
Ever?
Yeah.
I don't.
Because I know it's something stupid. And I know it was between two guys for something. I can't remember what. But they fought for a very long time. And I think at that point it's stupid because the amount of damage you're probably taking. But to crown a champion, is 12 rounds enough? Me, personally, I think I'd rather see 15. I think with the odd number, I think you'll definitely see a decrease in draws. You know, I think it pushed people a little bit more to get better cardio. I think training would change altogether, but then again, it's like I think 12 is enough because it's like you've got to think about it as we have evolved as fighters ourselves. Obviously, we train. You look back on the training of like Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, but you compare it to now. I always like to refer to it as the Rocky Drago effect, right? In Rocky 4, you saw Stallone training in the mountains with, in a barn, skipping, stuff like that. But when you saw Drago, he was there, he had all the machines calibrated. Yeah, he was popping bloody steroids, he was on the gear, like. But take that out of it, he had every nook and cranny there covered. He had a full running track so he could get the best performance. Everything was calibrated for him to be the best. And I think that's why nowadays it is a lot more dangerous than it is back in the day because of how hard training has got nowadays. Like, you think about it, hard sparring.
Yeah.
You're doing what? Maybe 3 times a week. I think it was Crawford that said he spars 3 times a week. You imagine that now with like, plus all the training, strength and conditioning stuff that we've got now, the road work, everything, the rest side of it as well. You've got like hyperbolic chambers now, ice baths, obviously, which were always a thing. It's just ice and water. But it's like, there's a lot of stuff nowadays, a lot of technology that has improved to go, okay, how can we get the physical best out of someone? And I think, personally, 12 rounds is enough. I'd like to see 15 come back. I think Better Be agrees with me with there because he wanted, I think, 20, I think. But
I wonder how many results that would have affected had it still been 15. So, like, from, it says here, September 13th, 1932, for the next 51 years from then until 1983, 15 rounds became the official championship distance.
Yep.
And it says here, it served the game well. I just wonder how many results would have gone a slightly different way. I mean, let's look at the most obvious one, right? Fury Wilder.
Yep.
How would have that ended had there been 3 more rounds? Somebody would have been unconscious again.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think certain, but then you look back on a lot of fights. Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, the first one, controversial draw. Holyfield was a little bit gassed out. Lennox Lewis still had quite a lot left in the gas tank. So realistically, would that have affected that? Would we have been crowned undisputed in that first fight instead of having to do a second fight? Again, undisputed, Fury, Usyk, that first fight. Me personally, I thought Fury won it. But obviously then the knockdowns happened. He did come back really well in that 11th and 12th round after the knockdown in round 9. So would he have carried on that way and potentially took the win? There's a lot of things that I think if it was... There's always that saying, isn't it? It's like when a rematch happens, it's that 13th round of the first fight. And I think by that, we're basically saying, look, we need that extra couple of rounds to go. Yeah, we need to know. So I think 15 is probably the right call to go. I don't think 25, 30 rounds is good.
I mean, you would never pass that these days, given all the research into things like CTE and everything else. You just wouldn't, right? But yeah, it is interesting to think about how different the boxing landscape would be. Would we have had the trilogies we'd have had, or we have had, had there not been 12 rounds and 15 instead? Look at Mickey Ward and Arturo.
Man, that would have been crazy.
How would that have been? Would there have been 3 fights? Had there been 15 rounds?
You think about a basic trilogy is 36 rounds altogether. You're doing an extra 10, aren't you? You're doing an extra 9, so you do 45 rounds in total with that person.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
You'd want to round that up, wouldn't you? Make it 50.
Yeah, that's basically an extra fight, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's basically going. Yeah, screw the trilogy. Let's do a quadruple.
Yeah,
what?
I don't know if they would have, either of them would have survived another one in that. But I think my favourite fact to come out of this boxing news report is, and it's fantastic. For those that haven't read it, go and pick up a copy. Mike Blake of Notting Hill fought more 20-rounders than any other British fighter. So Blake, he was a top-flight bantamweight and featherweight during a long 108-bout career during 1915 and 1928, and he took part in 40 contests that were scheduled for 20 rounds. Of these 40, he won 25 and lost only 10 with 5 draws. Only 5 contests ended by stoppage, and Mike won all of them. Blake probably spent more time within the ropes in those 40 contests than most British boxers have within their whole career.
Yeah,
that is crazy to think about. You've got to have some love for the game to put your body first and foremost through that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know it. In your little fact sheet over there, do you know what the average amount of rounds that someone does in a career nowadays?
I don't, but I'm guessing it varies, based on fighter, right? Because
of course.
Some are largely inactive.
Probably 2 rounds, but on average, I'd say it's probably about 7-8 rounds on average you do. But then it's you look at someone like Dimitri Bivol, for instance. It's his way of fighting, I think, suits that style. Move around a lot, in out, in out. It's he does obviously a lot of 12 rounders now. Both the Beterbiev one was 12 rounds, Zidane Ramirez was 12 rounds, Canelo was 12 rounds. The only one that wasn't was Malik Zinad. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Probably butchered that. That one got stopped. I think it was round 6, round 7. But other than that, he went on to do a lot of 12 rounders back to back to back. But realistically, do you need the rounds under you though? Because you look at someone like Mike Tyson, whose first couple of fights, first a lot of fights actually, didn't go the distance for any of them. Tommy Morrison, I think he knocked everyone out in the first couple of rounds for his first 22 fights when he turned over pro. A lot of people that get really early knockouts and obviously kind of then go into the higher the opponent now, the more rounds we're doing. But then it's do you need them? Because obviously in the amateur game, I think you need them. Because look at the likes of Usyk, Lomachenko, Triple G, all 200 plus fights, 300 plus fights for a lot of them. But then obviously in the pro ranks, they don't really have that many rounds compared to a lot of people.
Well, I think when you get to the pro ranks, you're not, or you shouldn't at least, unless you're at the very start of your career, be in need of those experience gathering rounds. And I think this is kind of what we were getting at in last week's episode. Is that amateurs these days are trying to approach the game like pros and be very selective with who they have bouts with, who they spar, and so they're not using it for what it should be used for, which is gathering as much experience
and information, really, isn't it?
And information as possible, and really getting a gauge of okay, do you want this?
Yeah, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah,
am I actually really? Do I want this life?
And so, yeah, I think, you could be right there in that. Do the pros once you're already at that elite level? Do you need that many rounds? For our listeners, let us know. Yeah. Drop us a line. I'll leave a link in the description of this podcast. You're probably listening to it on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'll leave an email in the description below. Drop us a line for next week's episode. Do you think we should reintroduce the 15 rounders? And also, do you think any bouts that you've seen over the past couple of years would have ended differently had there been an extra 3 rounds on the end of them? Be good to get your thoughts on this one.
Also, do they think amateur rounds should go up? Think about a lot of amateurs. When they turn over, they're so used to that kind of tippy-tappy style of, okay, we've only got 3 rounds, we've got to be really quick here, that they get stopped quite early in their professional careers because of the fact of they struggle a lot to then turn over because of that style. Where they've been great amateurs, but then as soon as they've gone into the pros, obviously it's a lot different, isn't it? So do you think maybe as an amateur, we should increase rounds to maybe 6 rounds altogether instead of just the 3? Let us know.
So yeah, a very interesting end to this one. Next week we'll be looking a bit more at the amateur side of things. I'm taking a very exciting trip over to Repton, or down to Repton, should I say, in London today. So hopefully we'll be catching up with some of the boxers there, some of whom I followed across the National Amateur Championships and the Tri-Nations as well. So it'll be good to see some familiar faces and hopefully bring you some interview content. But for now, I think that's it. And myself and Brandon are looking forward to all the boxing coming up this week, and we'll be back with the results next week. And as always, our opinion.
Yeah. Hope you all enjoyed.
Until next time, we'll catch you then.
Au revoir. Sayonara.